everybody, and welcome to another installment in... I can't itch my face. Maybe if I take the mask... Nope, I have a blemish on my face. I'm too self-conscious about that. You know, it's honestly kind of a shame that this is going to be an audio-only installment, considering I had a bunch of elaborate sketches planned for this. But, nope. Instead, this is just going to be a very standard look at 4 exploitation movies. Gore exploitation movies, in fact. I'm on a roll with this.
Let's start off with familiar territory by talking about The Murder Collection, Volume 1, released in 2009. Why do I say that this is very familiar ground? Well, it's because it's directed by the same guy who made August Underground, Fred Vogel, who, contrary to popular belief from what I've read about him, is honestly a pretty nice guy. He's very passionate about his work and is very willing to talk about the movies that he makes in a very kind and supportive way, despite the disturbing subject matter. The premise for this one in particular is showing off 6 episodes of an illegal 90s web series created by a mysterious host named Alon, who has this really eerie voice and cut-up facial images to accompany it, which is a pretty neat stylistic choice, all things considered. But the main problem that drives this film down is that is pretty much it. The movie is just nothing but showing murder after murder, with no story or anything like that. I honestly wouldn't mind if it was only just 4 individual segments, but no, this is 11 separate segments in a movie that is 80 minutes long. Say what you will about August Underground, at least it managed to spice things up every once in a while. Here, it just sticks to the same old thing over and over again. I actually went onto Letterboxd to see what people thought of this movie, and as it is a Fred Vogel movie, it's bombarded with the same usual negative reviews that these exploitation movies usually have. But one review in particular described it as gimmicky and dumb. I couldn't agree more. I do have to give a shout out to the Pepsi machine featured in one of the segments. Shout out to all you Pepsi fans out there. We are all really rooting for you. Next up on the list is 2005's Cheap. And I don't mean by how it looks either. The most notable thing I can mention about this one in particular is that it's directed by Brad Jones, who would go on to pioneer internet film reviewing with the Cinema Snob and would occasionally collaborate with Doug Walker. I love it when my favorite reviewers get along. This is a very, very low budget movie that kinda takes up a style of its own, sort of like an unholy hybrid between Cecil B. Demented and August Underground. Which shines through with its cinematography, if you could even call it that, and the plot depicting a friend group with mental issues making an authentic snuff film and uploading it to the internet, meaning that we could finally find out who the real identity of Balan is. Unfortunately, the movie does suffer from a few fatal flaws, including the writing, which takes itself way too seriously, perspective shots, which aren't made very clear considering that half of it is found footage, music supervision, which drowns out half the dialogue so I could barely understand what anybody is saying at all, and the runtime, with it being nearly 2 hours long. Really? 2 hours? Did we really need an entire scene revealing that Brad's bedroom has a poster of Weezer's Green album and Salvador Dali's Persistence of Memory? The Weezer one especially, like the Green album is boring. I would never consider that as one of my favorite albums of theirs. Pinkerton for the win. Thanks to this movie, we finally get to see what it looks like when the Cinema Snob punches somebody.
You did a bad thing, Max.
Overall, I gotta commemorate the crew of Cheap for paying homage to fictional snuff exploitation flicks and ending up homing in on a style unto itself. But in Hooker with a Heart of Gold terms of quality, I consider this as a C+.
I'm just gonna come clean on something. I sort of just lied about the whole blemish thing, and okay, I didn't, but I do have this on for a reason.
This is going to be part of a feature film. That's right, tomorrow I am going to be releasing my first official feature film called Seameth the Devil's Heaven. A movie about an alien getting captured by an unseen hierarchy and just getting tortured throughout. Think Tetsuo the Iron Man meets Guinea Pig, meets Jacob's Ladder, meets Eraserhead, meets Begone. except it's geared more towards fans of neo-surrealist dada cinema. The film technically has no plot, so it's pretty much par for the course for me. But to give you a quick heads up, this movie is not just coming out on this very channel. It's also coming out on my good friend Dennis's channel, Cold Blood Studios, with one additional scene. Check it out if you want when it comes out. Not to mention that there's also going to be a references video on Golden Standards Productions, a kill count on it on Earth's Dominion. I also made an internet archive page called CMF, The Underground Tapes, which also includes behind the scenes footage and just me messing around with visual effects, but thought were just too weird to leave in. Also get to see me crate climbing, so that's gotta count for something. And with that, I am done with self-advertising. Also, here's just footage of me doing parkour on Halloween. I don't know how to end this, so goodbye everybody.